Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another Solana video update, where today we are going to be taking a look at the technical analysis on Solana, sharing my thoughts and opinions as to kind of where I think the price action is heading next. As I get into today's video, guys, smash that like button. Let's see if we can hit 500 likes on today's video. Really do appreciate that. If you are new, welcome, subscribe and stay up to date with all the content that we do here at 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗏𝗧. Let's jump right down into today's video. So here we have Solana paired up with USDT. We're on the one-day Binance chart, and yeah, we've been tracking a three-wave correction to the downside. This is actually really quite a healthy one. It's not anything too much. If we zoom out of this, you can kind of get the scale of this thing. It really is actually holding up very, very well. I know it can be a little bit scary for any newcomers to the space, but this correction is pretty much a standard correction by the looks of it. It's actually holding up very well. You can see that we're currently finding support on the 200-day exponential moving average. It's the white line that is coming through the chart here. Currently sat at $130.09. Now we have the 50 EMA, the blue line coming through, and we have the 50 SMA, the yellow line coming through the chart here. These are obviously higher than the current price action. Basically, this tells us that the short-term, the current price is lower than the short-term price action, indicating things are a little bit on the bearish side. Our 200 EMA, the white line, is the trend filter. Whilst we remain above the 200 EMA, we are bullish and we're in an upward trend. I suspect, however, that we are going to see some more volatility over the next 1 to 2 weeks, and that unfortunately could be a little bit more slippage to the downside, as indicated with a WXY pattern that I've labeled up on the chart here. We are targeting out somewhere between $104.26 and $130.09. Now, this area is basically giving us the idea that we have a double bottom, and it could be just a wick that comes down here very quickly and then moves on up, or we come down a little bit deeper and we kind of come into that kind of typical kind of 1-to-1 kind of ratio, meaning that the Y wave is the same size as the W wave. It can, of course, slip down a little bit deeper, but for the most part, I'm not expecting that myself. So when we take a look at what's going on here for Solana, we're finding good support on the 200 EMA. This is great positive area for Solana to be. This basically gives us the idea that we might be able to get a bit of a run to the upside, a bit of a bounce to the upside. Alternatively, we could lose this 200 EMA, and there's a couple of reasons why I think that we might actually lose the 200 EMA here on the daily time frame. Let's bring up the stochastic RSIs. Now, the stochastic RSIs use the relative strength index, but are more sensitive to price movements. And here you can see that the 4-hour and 8 hours, they're currently in the overbought area. You can see this 4-hour is flashing up red at the moment, and this is basically telling us that we have reached an area of exhaustion in terms of buying pressure on the 4-hour and 8-hour time frames. Now, the 1-hour time frame is oversold, the daily is oversold, and the weeklies are oversold. So on the kind of macro scale of the daily and the weekly time frame, things are really positive. We're looking pretty good from a stochastic RSI point of view, but I'm looking to expect more volatility on the 1-hour, 4-hour, and 8-hour time frames, where we probably will see a little bit more of a push to the downside. Now, with the 1-hour being in an oversold area at the point of recording this video, we'll probably look for a bit of a move to the upside before we move on down, but it will be really minor stuff. It won't be anything major. Same with the 4-hour time frame. These aren't major time frames. We're not seeing any kind of major long-term issues with these, but we will potentially be looking to dance around that 200-day EMA a little bit more. And like I said, we might see a little bit more slippage to the downside in the next couple of weeks, where we test out that area of a double bottom, $130, or we go down a little bit deeper to $104, where I think we find that the bearish momentum, taking the price action down lower, will start to basically run out, and we'll start to see a reversal pattern forming for Solana. Now, if I turn off the stochastic RSIs and bring on the relative strength index, the yellow line here, with the divergence indicators as well, we can see that we are still actually, in bearish areas. We're lower than the 50 level on the RSI, but we're not yet oversold, indicating we could still see more slippage to the downside on the daily RSI right here. And it is unfortunately one of those things where we probably will see a little more volatility over the next couple of weeks whilst we try to get momentum sorted out. We're not quite ready to see the market kind of recover after a lot of the things that have been going on. So for Solana here, we're kind of, just expecting a bit of volatility. Now, things can change in the market. So, I can't guarantee anything. No one ever can. But using kind of these tools and the probability of such outcomes are telling us that we probably are going to be looking for more slippage to the downside over the next couple of weeks. Of course, the relative strength index, the stochastic RSIs. Now, if I go ahead and turn off the divergence indicator, bring on the MACD, I do have to go ahead and put this on auto for us to work. Here we can see, of course, that we have some negative prints on the histogram for the MACD as well, right? We're starting to see this area here. Now, at the moment, we haven't had a positive cross on the moving averages of the MACD, but again, all these things are really laggy. They're not massive indicators to say, this is predicting the future. Ultimately, I prefer Elliott wave theory and smart money concepts to be the predictive tools. And then I use things like the stochastic RSI, the divergence indicator, the volume profiles, the MACD, as a bit of confirmation against what's going on. Speaking of the volumes, here you can see that volumes have been decreasing since we've been correcting to the downside. Let me go ahead and bring up our price chart here. You can see that as we were having this move to the downside, this three-wave correction, the volume profiles have been decreasing. You can have the occasional spike to the upside, of course, most recently down here, but these are really minor stuff. Zoom out and you can really see the volumes that were happening on the way to the upside versus where they are right now. This tells us that there's not really a huge appetite for selling off their Solana holdings, and we are likely to see that this area of support around $130 to $104 is likely to hold, in my opinion. But prepared to be spooked, because it does mean that we are going to lose that 200-day EMA, which of course a lot of people will be looking at as the trend filter. They'll be kind of making people feel a little bit nervous about holding Solana. Now, I could be wrong, okay, because I openly admit to the fact that, none of this stuff is a guarantee. And if I am wrong about this and the 200-day EMA does hold, then we should be thinking about a move upwards where we rally higher than the 50 SMA, the 50 EMA on the daily time frame, and that will be where we want to be looking for bullish closed positions. If we can have any bullish engulfing candles to basically get us above the 50 SMA, that again would be an area where we might want to think about going long on the market, stop loss lower than the 200 EMA, and break higher than the $210 level that we had seen previously. And if I were to be trading leverage, I'm going to be trading on BitGet or Blowfin. Those are my two go-to exchanges. If you haven't got accounts for those guys, links are in the description down below. Check them out. I don't think you'll regret it. So yeah, taking a look at Solana then, from an Elliott wave theory point of view, we're expecting downward pressure. We can see the stochastic RSIs are not the best on the smaller time frames, but looking pretty good on the macro. We can see the RSI still needs a little bit more correcting. Volumes are exactly what you'd want to see when you see these kind of corrective patterns forming, basically indicating that there's not that many people looking to sell off. If I bring on smart money concepts, we are still in bullish structures, as indicated with our break of structure over here. That actually happened in February 2024, another one down here in October of 2023, and of course one down here in July of 2023, where we actually got flipped from our bearish structure into a bullish structure. Okay, all of that remains very much true still. We haven't changed any of those things. There's a few minor things going on, of course. So we can take a look in here. We have some minor changes of characterization, but there's no major ones or anything like that. So there's nothing major to be kind of terribly too concerned with. Only small time frames are an issue at the moment. Obviously, equilibrium is dancing right up here just above the 50 SMA and 50 EMA. So again, smart money concepts is telling us that this is a huge area of resistance just above $157. So it's going to be very unlikely that we're going to push through that. But if we do get, like I say, a closed position above that $157 50 SMA, and potentially above the equilibrium on smart money concepts, and if that was a bullish engulfing candle, then we would probably be in a very strong position to go long on Solana. But for now, it's actually indicating to me that we are likely to see more slippage to the downside. But there are a couple of things here that's worth noting. We have a weak high, and this is because we're in a bullish structure to the and we have a strong low, indicating that the $130 level, the double bottom scenario, could be something that is actually plays out, and basically we find that that is a great strong area for support and is where we end our Y wave pattern. Okay, so it's important to understand that there's a few different possibilities here, and in time that will become even clearer. Okay, so smart money concepts looking pretty good, and I'm not terribly too concerned. If we throw on the VPVR, this is going to show us where the volumes are and where the volumes were not. Basically, what areas are liquid and what areas were not liquid in terms of volumes and profiles over time, right? And we can see that, there was basically an illiquid area basically just up where we found resistance, which was on our X wave high. This was basically between $185 and $198. And we can see that where we are right now on the 200 EMA, there isn't a lot of liquidity here either. If we do lose this area, we're going to drop down to where the liquidity is, and it does fall between $130 and $104. Okay, that's going to be the area where you find that there's going to be some demand. And again, you can see that there's not a lot of liquidity in the area of around 79 to 85 either. So a slippage into these areas could be pretty disastrous for Solana because there isn't a lot of people historically buying at those prices. So it'll be interesting to see what happens next with Solana, but my expectations are that we do see a little bit more slippage to the downside. We test out those areas where there is liquidity around the kind of $104 to $130, and then from there we can talk about that run to the upside. If I roll this up into a weekly time frame, that run to the upside is looking very, very healthy. We had a 5-wave run to the upside. This is all looking very corrective at the moment. If we do kind of bottom that out at around $100 to $130, then we could be targeting out anywhere between $1,800 and $4,000 for Solana. Now, those are some phenomenal numbers, and they would obviously have to be driven from many different things. I think an ETF would be a main factor behind that. And the other thing that's worth kind of pointing out is I cannot time the market, so I don't know how long it would take such a move to play out, but it is a pretty standard 3-wave move to the upside, and the C wave is looking like a zigzag pattern in itself, an ABC, containing a 5-3-5 pattern, indicating that we have a strong possibility of getting Solana well above that $1,000 level. Now, you can let me know what your thoughts are on all of this in the comments down below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? And what, more importantly, what is your price prediction for Solana? Let me know down below. If you found today's video useful, smash the like button. If you're new, subscribe. And if you haven't checked out this video here, give it a click and find out what's going on in the crypto space.